It was a bitter, rainy night in downtown Atlanta. The streets were nearly deserted, save for a few cab drivers and the occasional late-shift worker rushing home. Near the towering glass entrance of the luxurious Evergrande Hotel, a man stood soaked and shivering. His clothes were torn, his beard thick, and his face weathered with years of hardship. Passers-by barely glanced at him. To them, he was just another homeless man looking for shelter. But tonight, something was different. He wasn't asking for change. He simply stepped through the doors of the hotel lobby, quietly, as though he belonged. And in a way he did, though no one knew it yet. The moment he entered, eyes turned. The concierge stiffened. A group of wealthy guests near the fireplace exchanged judgmental glances. Within seconds, a front desk clerk picked up the phone. "Yes, we have a situation," she whispered. Security was called. Then the police. The man walked over to the lounge area, not to beg or cause trouble, but to rest. His boots were dripping onto the pristine marble floor. A bellhop whispered, "What's he doing here?" The manager, a sharp-suited man named Dennis, approached him. "Sir, you can't be here. This isn't a shelter." The man looked up. His eyes were calm. "I know," he said, "but I'd like to speak to someone in charge." Before the man could explain anything further, two police officers stormed in. One of them, Officer Trent, had dealt with his share of homeless trespassers before. "Up now," he barked. The man stood slowly, not resisting. "I have something important to say," he murmured. "You can say it in the back of the squad car," the officer snapped. Guests began recording on their phones. A woman muttered, "It's about time," as they cuffed him in the lobby. His eyes never left the manager's. "Check the name Marcus D. Harris," he said. "You'll want to remember that." They laughed. "You think this is a joke?" one officer said, slamming the door as he was escorted outside. But what the hotel staff didn't know was that a few blocks away, in a law firm's boardroom, a deal had just been finalized. Marcus D. Harris was indeed the legal name of the man they just arrested, and as of 3 p.m. that same day, Marcus was the majority shareholder of the Evergrande Hotel chain. His legal team had finalized the purchase quietly over months of negotiation. He wanted to keep it under wraps until he could inspect the flagship hotel in person. That inspection was tonight, and the staff had just arrested their own new owner. A video clip of the incident posted on social media was already going viral. Homeless man arrested at Evergrande. They didn't know who he was. Marcus Harris hadn't always looked like this. 5 years ago, he was a tech entrepreneur with a multi-million-dollar company. But after a betrayal by a business partner, a bitter divorce, and a health crisis, he lost nearly everything. He chose to disappear for a while, living among those forgotten by society, rebuilding himself slowly. He read, he studied, he invested again, this time anonymously. What few knew was that Marcus had turned his pain into purpose. He began buying real estate through a quiet trust. One of his most symbolic investments, the Evergrande Hotel, the very place that once kicked him out years ago when he was at his lowest. Back at the police station, the arresting officers were finishing their paperwork when they received a sudden, urgent call. It was from Evergrande's corporate legal department. "Release him immediately. That man is Marcus D. Harris, the new owner of the entire hotel group." Officer Trent's jaw dropped. "You mean that guy?" Within minutes, the cuffs were off and an apology was muttered. Marcus didn't say a word. He simply stood, adjusted his coat, and walked out of the precinct without looking back. But the storm had just begun, and it wasn't outside anymore. The next morning, the Evergrande Hotel staff gathered nervously in the conference room. Rumors were flying. Had they really arrested the new owner? Was he coming back? At 9 a.m. sharp, the elevator doors opened, and in walked Marcus. But this time he wasn't in rags. He wore a sharp navy suit, his beard trimmed, his eyes clear. Gasps echoed in the room. "Good morning," he said calmly. "I believe we have some things to address." The same manager who had mocked him the night before now stood frozen, unable to speak. "Let me be clear," Marcus continued. "What happened last night wasn't just about me. It was about how you treat people when you think no one is watching." Marcus spoke not in anger but with quiet authority. He told them his story, not to shame them, but to remind them that appearances deceive, and dignity belongs to everyone. "You don't need to know someone's title to treat them with respect," he said. "We will retrain this staff. We will rebuild this culture. And for those who cannot learn to see value in every human being, you will no longer work here. Several staff members resigned on the spot. Others apologized tearfully. For the first time in years, Evergrande was about to undergo a transformation that came not from money, but from meaning. In the weeks that followed, Marcus rolled out a new hiring policy, one that included the formerly homeless, single parents and ex-convicts looking for a second chance. The hotel's image shifted rapidly. Media outlets covered the story nationwide. Bookings soared. Marcus wasn't just running a hotel chain, he was redefining what it meant to serve. He installed free housing programs in a few Evergrande properties. He even launched a leadership training academy in the hotel basement for those who, like him, had been counted out before anyone knew their name. Months later, Marcus was walking the same lobby where it all began. A little girl pointed at him and asked, "Are you the man from the story?" He smiled. "I am." The concierge, now a newly trained young man who had once lived on the streets, greeted him with pride. "Welcome back, Mr. Harris." And just like that, Marcus knew justice had been served. Not through revenge, but by rewriting the rules of the game. Because in a world that judged him by his coat, he proved that true power isn't in what you wear, but in how you rise.